To all that come to this happy podcast, welcome. This week I've got Madi Foley, a Disney travel planner and the host of the Fairy God Pod. Now, I have listened to various Disney podcasts of different genres, and hers really stands out to me. They're usually shorter than mine, and they have quick and useful info, or recently she's been doing interviews with Disney influencers. She also has a pretty good following on TikTok for now. We shall see how all that plays out, and we do get into it on the episode. For any and all of her social media info or to have her book your magical vacation, check the description or search for Madi Does Disney on your social media accounts. Thanks and enjoy this episode.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Park Hopper Show with me, Paul. And today I have a very special guest, Madi Foley. And I found her through her wonderful podcast, which is part of what we're going to talk about today. She is a travel agent with Access Travel Group, and she is the fairy pod mother that I like to follow and listen to. So, Madi, welcome. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I also have a podcast called the Fairy God Pod, and I'm a travel advisor. That's like the main thing about the podcast, or that's how I got started in the Disney sphere. I do Instagram and TikTok.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But I just really love Disney and love all things Disney and love talking about Disney. And that's basically what I do.
Well, how did you get your start into Disney? Because a lot of people, I would have thought, like myself, I'm a little bit older, and we went all the time as children, or I went all the time as a child. I'm an only child, and that's probably why I got to go so much. But it's part of the nostalgia of my life. But I assumed most people who get into it now had similar backgrounds. And as I've done this podcast, it seems like that is not actually the case. So many of them actually started going in like their late teens, early 20s and fell in love with it. So when did it become such a thing for you?
So I think I went like maybe once or twice when I was a kid. And then when my boyfriend at the time, now husband, he was in basic training for the Army. And when he got out and he got his first Christmas break, we were like, oh, let's take a trip together. Where should we go? And I was like, oh, what about Disney World? And we went. And then ever since that trip, we were just hooked. We started going twice a year, 3 times a year, and we just have not stopped since. So I was an adult-ish. I was like 18 when I found my love for Disney.
Yeah, that's so bizarre to me, because I would have put all the money on all these people who loved it since they were 6 or 7. And I'd say 9 out of 10 people that I've met on this podcast, same story, the same time of life. And it's very interesting to me. So have you been lucky enough you say your husband goes with you, but did you find someone who loves it, or is it someone who tolerates it because he loves you?
Crazily enough, he absolutely loves it. Like, nice. He is just as obsessed as I am.
Well, that's how you know it is a keeper. So
he is, yes.
Well, tell me a little bit about your podcast, because how long have you been doing this?
I have been doing my podcast maybe for a year. I do seasons. It's not something that I do every single week. I'll do seasons. That's just because I have a crazy schedule. But in the beginning, it was kind of Disney tips and tricks. I used to have a co-host, and then she quit. And then I had another co-host, and then she had to step down. So it's like, okay, this is a sign. I'm just going to do it by myself. And now I have focused on having Disney related guests. So either I'll have like the owner of my agency come on and talk about that. I'll have some like Disney influencers come on, just people in the Disney sphere, not necessarily all travel agents, but just like Disney lovers. I'll have them on and we'll just talk Disney. And
it's very good. I'll recommend it. It'll be in the show notes, check it out. And it's a similar story to how I do this. A friend of mine who's a travel agent, or I'm not sure if she still does it, but she was. And I started a podcast for her to get out there, and she stopped doing it. But I really enjoyed it. So I've been trying to get it moving, and just decided, hey, I could start interviewing Disney travel agents, because these people, they know what they're talking about. So I really think, and I don't want to get too in the weeds in the early bit, but the reason I set this up was to have people like you on. And I think having a travel agent is so important. And I go over this every episode, but it's so hard to plan it on your own, and you can do it, but it's free. It's a free service that you're already paid for. It's already, part of the fee that you give. But it's still, going to Disney is very expensive, and it's not something it's not you're in the checkout of the grocery. You're like, I think I'm going to add a several $1,000 trip. So you really want the person that you're planning to be something that you enjoy being with and talking to and working with. Something like your podcast is amazing because it really gives an insight of who you are and it helps you meet. I mean, that's why I had you on here because I thought she's great. Just talking to her or like listening to you on there. Oh,
That's awesome.
She knows what she's talking about and she does it in a pleasant way. You're not like, you don't sound like a hard salesman because you're definitely there to give tips and tricks, but you also, if you don't like something, you're letting people know, something that might not be the best thing. So now I told you it wasn't a gotcha interview, but I might have lied. I hear that you have no class because you don't like the yacht club.
Okay, so I went to yacht club a year ago, and I was like, oh, this is it. Like, okay, it's kind of it bored me. It made me bored. I guess that's how you say it. And I posted that on TikTok, and someone called me like trashy and classless, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll be classless. Like, I don't have class. I will say my tune has changed a little bit about the yacht club. I will say I don't like the theming. I don't like the hallways. They are just brown. They don't excite me, but I do like the yacht club now.
Well, I think that, first of all, let me apologize to you for being a woman on the internet because I can't imagine.
Oh, gosh.
That you hear. And, I don't get a lot of, I get zero of any kind of feedback like that because lucky me being a guy, but man, I can't imagine if someone said something like that to me online.
Oh, people are the other day, someone told me I had a face for radio and I said, okay, thank you.
Well, that is like the oldest silly thing. I don't agree, but unless you said, hey, guys, what do you think?
I didn't ask for anyone's opinion, but I wanted to be like, okay, I do have a radio. I have a podcast. So there we go.
So I don't understand what's wrong with people. I'm sorry. That's so, and I'm sorry for you because that is so, I'm primarily on Instagram with this because I don't know if you've been in the news lately. It's a mess. Like the world is just, it's a lot of arguing, a lot of just everything. So I have a separate Disney Instagram account that I keep because it's all very positive there and I can't imagine if somebody got into that bubble. It was block you right away, kick you out, get out of here. This is my safe space. What are you doing in here with this nonsense? So, well, okay. So you had a lot of so-called hot takes that I really agreed with, and that's when I first went, I like this. So Peter Pan's wait time. Now,
crazy.
I have brought this up over and over, and I was just there last year. I don't get to go all that often, but just walking by, I was there for about 6 or 7 hours at the Magic Kingdom, and I went on maybe like 14 or 15 things. It was just, a light day. The Peter Pan's flight, hour and a half. God,
it's insane. It's insane.
I mean, what do you do? Like, why? I have no idea how on earth people, are they excited when they're done? That was worth it. That was a good use of my day at the parks.
I would say doubtful because when I wrote it, I think in April or September, I had like a lightning lane and my friends wanted to do it. And I was just like, this is what people wait so long for. I do not understand. I don't, it's cute, but I would never wait more than honestly 10 or 20 minutes for it.
That's a pretty good use of time. 10 or 20 minutes. Just, it's not even got a good queue. Like it's one of those things I just don't get. I feel like we've come so far, especially Disney. Most of their queues are pretty on point, but that one is just, it's that back and forth snake line and an hour with it. And the demographic for it is little ones. And I just don't know how they're dealing with that line in there. So
I don't get it either. I'm not a huge fan.
Well, and that's part of the reason you get a planner to help you plan these things out, because back in the day when we used to go, and I've told this on here before, but we went to Universal Studios years and years and years ago. And when the year the Back to the Future came out, and my sweet parents, who are 100% better parents than I'll ever be, we stood in line for 3 hours to ride that day. And there was no queue. It was just a line of concrete.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm excited that I got to go on it. It's one of my favorite movie series. And now it's gone, like the ride is gone. But to think about my children who I love so much, I have 2 little girls. Well, I have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. Neither one of them would stand in line for anything for 3 hours,
No.
much less no snack. I mean, just, this is what you do because you're cattle. And now, they kind of tighten it up. They've got better lines, but Peter Pan is not one of them because it's a classic ride there. So is there do you have any favorite cues at any of the parks that help make this go better?
Oh my gosh. I know this is going to sound like I'm so spoiled or bratty or something, but honestly, I normally do not ride rides unless I have a lightning lane. And when
It's because you have class. That's
so I just like hate standing still. Like I just don't like it. I mean, I like the Haunted Mansion queue when you get to the closer to the building and you get to see all the graves and the statue and things like that. Guardians of the Galaxy is cool, but to be honest, I don't ride things unless it's like a 10-minute wait, 20-minute wait, or I have a lightning lane.
I mean, it's pretty good. And so Disney, that's one of the good things about their park is it's more than just rides.
Yeah.
So there's more to do, if you don't want to stand. I think people think theme park, if you've never been there and you're like, oh, it's like, where are you, by the way? Where are you located, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I'm in Virginia.
Okay. So I'm in Kentucky and we have a big theme park here. And there's a bigger one in Ohio that we go to, Kings Island. And it's mostly just roller coasters and rides. And if that's not what you want, you're not going for the day because it's just rides. But Disney, if you think of it like that, it's crazy because there's shows and restaurants and, there's anything you want to do to spend a whole day. So if you say you were in the park and everything was 30 minutes or longer, the rides, then what do you do? What is your favorite thing to do that's not a ride?
Eat. I really like to eat the food. Obviously, Magic Kingdom's a little more dry in the sense of like adult beverages, but in Epcot or something else, like I'll split a drink, try things. And I'm also like a big proponent. I think it's because I go often that I am able to do this, but I'm a big proponent of like a midday nap, a midday rest at your resort, and then go back for fun.
That is 100% who my wife is. She's like, we're going and we'll rope drop if you want to, and we'll stay till it closes if you want to. But in the middle of the day, there's got to be some kind of break.
Yep, me too.
Is too much. And I'm a hustler. I'm like, all right, you take.
I know. My husband's like, no.
Yeah. I'm like, do you know how much this is costing per hour? And you're going to take a nap. Book a nap at home.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to eat there then? Because getting to go a lot, you probably have tried way more than I have, I'm sure. So any favorites?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. In Epcot, there is a stand by Japan. Okay. And oh my gosh, I'm just blanking. But they have chicken skewers with like peanut sauce on them. And that's one of my favorite foods in general. And they just do it like super well there in Magic Kingdom. I hate to say this, but I used to love the chicken and waffles from Sleepy Hollow, but they changed it so it's not the same anymore. Oh my gosh. I like the create your own popcorn in Magic Kingdom. I really like that. It's pretty cheap, all things considered.
Tell me, what is this create your own popcorn?
So on Main Street, if you go to the confectionery and you go like all the way to the right, it's kind of hidden, honestly. You get to choose this big popcorn bowl, and I think you get to choose 2 to 3 flavors of popcorn and 4 toppings. And it's huge. And I think it's like $15, and 2 people can't even finish it in one sitting. So it comes along for the trip with us. And it's really tasty. I like it because you can create your own.
Nice. Well, of all the food and all the snacks and everything there, my favorite is the caramel corn from Germany in Epcot that they also have at Magic Kingdom in the back in the big tent in the kids area.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a must stop for us. And it's funny because they have, steakhouses and just whatever you want. But that popcorn, you can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Another thing that you like, or that I like that you said that I agree with that most people don't. You're not a Dole Whip person, and that seems like Disney Blast for me.
I do not do Dole Whip. Sorry to Dole Whip, but I just don't. I don't care for it.
Oh man, yeah. And I've tried, and I don't like pineapple. I love soft serve ice cream. Guys, there's literally 5,000 things to eat here. I don't understand the appeal of all of this stuff. So
I know. I and a cast member one time like pixie dusted me with 4 free coupons for Dole Whip, and I was so thankful. I was like, that's so sweet. I obviously did not tell them I don't like Dole Whip. And I use them, but I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get this.
that's the dark side of that. Like, beat it, Tinkerbell. I don't want this on me. Now, so you say this out loud, and I am honestly not familiar with this. I've seen it a few times online. Can you walk me through what being pixie dusted means? Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, so pixie dusted it can be cast members or other park goers. There's like a huge pixie dust movement on Facebook. I will say it's geared more towards people who are older than me in my generation. I'm in my 20s, so it's like maybe 30s, 40s, 50s. And if a cast member pixie dusts you, it basically means they're giving you something for free. And it can be a whole range of things. For myself, we've been pixie dusted a water bottle, which is still super, like a Dasani water bottle saves me $10 or whatever. Right. Dole Whip, I've been pixie dusted the presidential suite at Coronado Springs. I don't know how I did that.
What are you doing in the parks that people are like, this poor girl needs some help?
I know. I just checked into Coronado. I booked like the standard room. And she's like, oh, we just decided to upgrade you today. And we just got like the presidential suite. And we were just flabbergasted. Of course, this was before I did social media. So I don't have pictures or anything like that. But is it just a cast member or someone else doing something nice for you, gifting you something? Yeah.
I've never, up until like a month ago, I had never heard that term before. And now it seems like it is a big deal online because people keep talking about it. At first, I thought they were just literally, glitter bombing them or something like that. But that's pretty cool. I have never stayed in the nicer rooms like that. How is that presidential suite?
I just didn't belong. Obviously, we've established I don't have class. So it was amazing. And it's like a memory that I will cherish forever. It also was towards like the beginning of my Disney journey. I think that was like our second trip. And so obviously from that, you just get hooked. Multiple rooms, a dining table, a booth, 2 bathrooms, like just a living room, 3 TVs, like crazy things.
I mean, it's almost a waste. Like you don't even want to go and do anything else. You stay in that room all day.
I know. That's how I felt.
That's madness. Okay. Well, so you joke about it. I feel like I don't have class, or I'm at least low class in Disney. And like my not even a word. My preferred, I like a nice all-star or art of animation hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just nostalgia from childhood, but I like Disney when it's big and tacky. So when you talk about the nice hotels, we went to Steakhouse 71, and we went to the Yacht and Beach Club. What is the restaurant there? We went to the fancy.
Oh, is it Yacht? No, I know exactly what you're talking about, kind of, but I never
abstract name.
Yeah,
we went, and we were just mouth agape hillbillies looking around. Ooh, this is nice. Wonder what all these people do for a living, because this is a nice place. And I'm like, where's all the loud music and the people running up and down the hallway? And there's something about that. But, as I've established, I'm there to be out. So, I am not in the room. I am set whatever time it opens up. We are there. Mm-hmm. We were on the bus or on the Skyliner ready to go. And so another thing that we agree with, the French Quarter, the rooms there, and this is a thing that I've brought up before, but it's a nice resort. Mm-hmm. But the rooms, they're basically the rooms from the All-Star.
Yeah.
It's like the floor plan has been shoved into like a mansion almost. It's very strange.
Yeah. I know exactly. And I know French Quarter I think it's going under some renovations. Like they're updating the rooms, which is great. And I think I'm like a hypocrite because I'm staying at Riverside next month. And I don't really want to stay there, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to
Oh,
have the best
sorry,
time.
Disney.
Honestly, like you were saying, I do stay deluxe a lot, but I will say every time that I stay deluxe, I do 1 or 2 nights deluxe. And then the rest of the time, I'm usually at Art of Animation or an All Star resort. And I love those. I just love being in the Disney vibe. And I think if you're at Art of Animation or any All Stars, you have the music, you have just like the energy, the people, the food court. I like that. There's nothing sometimes I prefer that. So I kind of agree with you there.
The Pop Century, the lunchroom and the like gift shop area. That's, I mean, if I could just go stand in there just for a half hour and just
I
take it
feel
in.
the same way.
It's
And
like,
the
oh, we're
have
home.
you ever smelled pop scent? Like, do you pay attention to the scent?
I've not noticed the scent there.
Okay. I have a candle scented after Pop Century. It's my favorite
Where did that come from?
scent. I think the Magic Candle Company.
Well, I'll have to look that up because I have some here. That's what I usually do before my
Oh,
podcast.
nice.
I don't recommend the confectionery. It's the only one that I
Okay.
have that's still it's pretty sweet. But the rest
Oh,
of them,
gotcha.
there's let's see, the ice cream on Main Street's pretty great. The bakery,
Ooh.
the Christmas ones are all nice, but that confectionery, it's a little overpowered in the house. Till my wife comes home, what is going on? I'm sorry. It's rough. I know. Well, I'm going to look that up because that's to me like that. That is my that's my ideal vacation. Is just
Oh, yeah.
being there. And are you a person who takes a day off then, like an off day since you're napping, or do you just go while you're there because you take a break every day?
Unfortunately, I'm a type of person that I don't get long trips there. Like, I want to say 4 days is like the max. So I can't really take a day off. And I really want to get there for like a full week. I don't think I've ever done a full week. And if I did that, I would definitely take a nap. That's what not take a nap, take a rest day. That's what I tell my clients to do. I'm like, okay, you're not going to want to do 7 days at the park,
No.
open to close. You're gonna be exhausted. So yeah, I'm all for rest days when you have longer trips.
When we like that the year that we went to Riverside, that was the first one. Not Riverside, Bridgewater. That was the first year that because we'd only go once a year, maybe once every couple of years. So we would go for a full week every time, but we would try to go. But my friend who booked it said, "Why not take off Wednesday? Go Monday and Tuesday all day, and Wednesday, and now you're at this nicer hotel." And we had never stayed really at the nicer hotels. Like, oh, this is the room itself is whatever it is, but then there's so much to see and walk around and boat rides. And I mean, you don't remember it because of your age, but in the 90s, they would send out these videotapes of what you can do at Disney, and that's how you planned it. You had to call the number, and they would just show these wild things that you could do that we never did. But it was like get a bike, rent a bike, and ride a bike around.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to do.
That's like peak Disney nostalgia. If I ever see videos like that, it just puts me in the mood to go to Disney.
I watch them on YouTube sometimes when I'm working, and I'm like, this is absurd because once you get there, it's almost completely different. Like there's not anything. Goofy's not out there on a water ski, on the things. But oh man, all right. So tell me about. Okay, so it seems like I've been having people convince me of something I don't like and try to turn me around on it. But this is something I do like that I don't think I never hear anyone online talking about. No one ever seems to enjoy it. But tell me about how great Mickey's PhilharMagic is.
That's my favorite. Oh my gosh. That's just my favorite. It just puts me in the peak Disney mood. The smells, the air that hits you. Like, I don't know. I just love that. I love it so much.
I mean, I went on it the first time in like the last 4 years. And I mean, I'm in my early 40s and I had never been on it. It's amazing. I don't know how we ever got past it all these years. And
sorry. I just went to the one in Disneyland and it sucks. Like it does not compare to Disney World at all. Like Disney World.
Disneyland.
I know, right? Take that. Disney World has scents and it has like air and it has the 3D. Disneyland has 3D too. But if you just need a little bit of a rest and you want to be put in the biggest Disney mood, you're just going to walk out like with a smile on your face. That is my favorite attraction. It's definitely not a ride, but I love it so much.
Yeah, you were talking about it on your podcast, and I said, oh, this is wonderful because it is literally right around the corner from Peter Pan. That is not great.
No.
And I mean, it's fine, but it's not worth that line. And Mickey's PhilharMagic is literally a walk on every time we've been since we've started going on. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And it's almost sad because we've seen when something isn't at full capacity, what they're doing to it in Muppets. And now I'm like, get on Mickey's PhilharMagic. Don't let them take this away and turn into some nonsense. A riot would happen.
I would be out there with the sign, like rioting.
You know what? I've never seen a picketer at Disney, but that would be really funny to book a trip and then just go out in front, bring back my Muppets, bring back PhilharMagic. That would be absurd.
I think Mickey would punch me and take me off the scene immediately.
Well, that's, you know what? It probably has never happened, but I bet they have a pretty good security or something like that where to go on.
Yeah.
So you also, and this is the Disney blasphemy that I commit, is I can't tell the difference between the different shows, like the fireworks and all that. When people say, bring back this and bring back that, I'm always amazed at them.
Mm-hmm.
And this has happened, though. People talk about the different versions of Fantasmic, and I'm like, it's fine, but you don't seem to be a fan of that at all.
No.
And you spoke about the weight and all that on there, and this is probably a harsh hot take for Disney, but that, if you're talking about wasting time in a line, luckily we did the dinner at the Brown Derby, so we got in priority seating or whatever, but I mean, we sat there for forever, before it started, and it was it was a cool show, but I wouldn't go back. It wasn't something that, and people built it up like this. It's going to be the most amazing thing. Just wait.
That's what I thought too.
I'm like, it's quite a production, but it's not a 2-hour park, experience that you've got there. So
it's not my favorite. And a lot of people are like, how could you say that, Maddie? I'm just like, I don't know. And when we went, like, we waited a long time on the bleachers. It was like really uncomfortable. And then I was like, it's kind of scary for kids. It's a lot of villains and like fighting. And I was just like, this is just not, I know the ending is happy, spoiler alert, it's happy go lucky, but just not something I care for. And people look at me like I have two heads when I say that.
Oh, there's some experiences and some shows there, like rides I could see going on every time if you really liked them, but I don't get a lot of the shows other than the Hoop-Dee-Doo review. Have you done that before?
I have never done that. I really want to, though.
We've only done it once, but I would go back because the food is excellent. The show is good, but I think it's because maybe it's not at the park. You're at the resort. So usually those shows like that, though, I'm like, this is fine. And we've gotten to the point where we don't go we might go once a year, once every couple of years as a family, but we don't even go to the fireworks anymore. Our last travel, we have a friend that's a travel agent, and she recommended that's when you go to the Magic Kingdom and ride the rides when the fireworks are going on, because everybody's sitting on Main Street and no one's on Jungle Cruise, and it's really strange. So
that's a very good tip.
That would be my tip as a non-travel planner today. So you had pro Carousel of Progress, which I like.
Yes,
and I think it's very strange at your age that you're a Carousel of Progress person, because that's usually someone who's a little older really enjoys that. But I mean, that's probably my favorite, which is really strange because of all the technology. I've been on Tron and all the cool new rides there, but I like the slow moving, questionable animatronics, and you get stuck. And the future is something that happened 25 years ago.
I know. It's my husband's favorite. It's my favorite. We sing. It's a great, every day we'll just be like singing that. And I brought my mom and her partner on it, and he like fell asleep. My mom was like, this is what you like? Like, this doesn't seem like you. And she's like, it's cute, I guess. I'm like, no, it's perfect.
Well, people talk about falling asleep on there. I'm like, how tired were you? It's 15 minutes long. You were at the breaking point when you got in line. It's not the ride's fault. You were just tired. Let's blame it on that.
Yeah.
Well, so you said your husband, he likes Animal Kingdom. Is that correct?
He does. Yeah, he loves Animal Kingdom.
So my last guest, she talked me into why Animal Kingdom, and I've enjoyed it, but I would call it a half day park for me. But she was telling me, it's kind of like the Disney magic because every time you turn a corner, there's animals out and there's characters walking around, there's music playing. But what is it that your husband likes about that makes it so good for him? Because I saw the Disney magic in it when she told me that, but I can't imagine it being my favorite.
Well, I would say I think it is the most magical park. There's like the most going on. There's the most interaction, like animal interactions. He loves animals for one, but gorillas. And they have like a gorilla trail. So you walk that and then you get to learn about gorillas, see gorillas. And he just loves animals. And we used to be like, oh yeah, it's a half day park. And it is like you're not gonna need to be there from open to close, but I think it's a great low key park, and use that if you can't have a rest day, kind of use Animal Kingdom as your relaxing day. The way that it is done, it's just exquisite. Like it's great. I think people just hate on it too much, but we love it, and he loves gorillas. I know that's weird to say, but he loves gorillas.
Well, that's funny. So we have a zoo in town here that has a whole gorilla forest area. So,
he would love that.
Yeah, I was going to say we have all the gorillas at home that we need. But
yeah.
it's becoming an unofficial Animal Kingdom podcast because people keep coming on and telling me how amazing it is, and I've just overlooked it all because to me it's just hot.
And it is very hot.
I like rides, and I mean the Flight of Passage is really cool, but boy, it's a long line. And it's a cool queue. I mean, there's a lot to look at, but boy, it is some of that classic Disney. Hey, we're here. Oh, wait, we're not. We're just inside the building where there's another hidden line. And, I
know. I hate that.
And it might be a line that looks like you're inside of a movie, but it is still a line, and it is dark and small. Like it feels very cramped in there. But I think Animal Kingdom is going to get a big shot in the arm pretty soon because that's where the non-animal rides are going, the Indiana Jones and the Encanto and all that. So it might be real crazy packed. Is that later this year? Or is that next 2026? Do you know?
I think it's 2026. They just closed, and we love Dinosaur, like the ride Dinosaurs. We're sad we didn't get to ride it one last time. I think it's gonna have a spike. Obviously, Magic Kingdom is gonna be busier. I don't know how that could be possible because Magic Kingdom's always busy, but I don't know. I think Animal Kingdom's going to have a resurgence.
I mean, I think that's kind of the thing. It seems like one of those that there's lots of cool stuff, but you don't get the excitement for it. Like when something new opens up somewhere else, it's like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, people are camping out, or even remember those Figment popcorn buckets people were standing in line all day for, but there's not really that kind of attraction since Pandora opened at Animal Kingdom. So it's exciting to see what they're doing over there. All right. So when you're in the park and you said you get to go 2 or 3 times a year. And so like there are people who, sometimes some people save up their whole life and only get to go on one trip or, that's their big deal. But you've seen the good and the bad. You're more comfortable. It's funny because several of the episodes you talk about Disney drinking, which is fun. I'm like, when you binge it, I'm like, oh, she really likes to get there and party. It's real fun. But you said something real good on there, and it was about clothing in the parks. Now, what could you give as a tip for people of how to dress?
Okay, so if you are my age and you are scrolling Instagram and you're preparing for a Disney trip, you're going to think you need to wear nice shoes, a very cute outfit, because it's what you see online. But that is not what you should be wearing. You need to wear, oh my gosh, if it's hot, shorts, obviously, but sunscreen and non-black clothing so you don't attract the sun, and just like sweat wicking clothing. And I think that the social media, which I'm guilty of because I do post pictures of me in dresses and stuff, you don't have to dress cute. I'll say 95% of the people are in athleisure, and it's important to stay cool and not dress cute.
No, I don't. And that's another, lucky for me as a guy, it's not as big of an issue, but I feel sometimes I see women there and I'm like, honey, what are
I
you doing?
know. I've seen people in heels and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
heels. Yeah. And, as a father of two daughters, I'm almost at that age. Like, can we go in and get you something more comfortable to put on? Because
Yeah.
how are you, like, I've seen like heels where they have it like wraps up to your knee. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? I mean, sure, you're on a date. It seems like, but this, I don't know. If he can't accept you in some sneakers at the Disneyland or Disney World, I don't know, down the road what he's expecting from you as far as
Yeah,
how you're going to keep this going for the next 50 years because it is hot and is uncomfortable sometimes. And I can't
absolutely.
imagine making it worse. So, do you have a recommendation for types of shoes to wear?
Tennis shoes, like 10,000% across the board, especially I have like feet issues, plantar fasciitis.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you are scrolling my Instagram, you will see that in all my pictures, I don't show my shoes or my feet. Like I know that sounds weird, but I don't show my shoes because I'll have this very cute dress on with tennis shoes. It has to be tennis shoes across the board, something supportive. Just don't buy into the non-supportive flat shoe. You need the buffer, you need cushion. And yeah, I just always wear like my Nike tennis shoes.
It's important to remember this is a good tip from a woman who goes to Disney all the time. It's okay to look cute in the pictures, but the feet, I mean, all day long, you're on your feet at least
Hmm.
10,000 steps, if not 20 to 30.
Yeah.
The people that you're seeing, I think a lot of times that are in the big fancy. So going back, I'm cutting myself off mid sentence. So they say like Instagram, you should never compare yourself necessarily to the person in there because they're just showing you the highlights. So these people
Yeah.
they're dressed up, they're being fancy, and they're probably going there for their photo shoot for the day. They're not going to spend 12 hours. They're not there for
No.
fun in the parks. They are there for
No.
Instagram exposure. So
Yes.
don't dress like that. It's
No.
it's a whole lot. And I had a lady on here who she's a travel agent owner or travel agency owner, and she said, her girls, they were going to a company trip and they were to ride all the rides, and she said, your hair and makeup look good. We're taking pictures now, and then we have
Yeah.
fun. Like that's what you go around to all the backdrops, all the whatever you want for your social media, and then you have a good time. So when you're taking the
Yep.
pictures, a lot of the people aren't there for a good time. They're there for their followers. So it brings me to the sad thing we talked about right before. So you have got a good following. You've talked about on your podcast a lot about TikTok.
Hmm.
What is next now for Maddie now that TikTok looks like it might be on the way out?
I do not know. I am focusing a lot on Instagram, but if you're on TikTok, you know the feeling and the community there. And I haven't found that anywhere else. So I have an Instagram and I have always posted on there, and I'll obviously be focusing more on that if TikTok leaves. And that's all I can say. I know there's a new app coming out called Neptune, and I'm on the beta testing for that. So I'll see how that goes. I can report back. It should be similar to TikTok, but it's just a real blow because the community that I have built is mainly on TikTok. And if you do anything in social media, you'll realize converting a follower is very hard. It's a huge challenge to get anyone from my TikTok to my Instagram. Like, and that's not a uncommon thing. That's the case for a lot of people. So I'm actually very devastated. And TikTok is how I have my business. I
Mm-hmm.
get every single one of my clients is from TikTok. So I don't really know what I'm going to do.
Oh, well, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's gonna okay. Well, wow. All right. So let me just throw this at you. Maybe a little bit of a bright thing, if you can get Instagram. So it sounds like you're not a Facebook person too much at all.
I do have a Facebook. I have like a personal Facebook. I do have a travel Facebook as well, but I don't keep up with that, unfortunately. I do run a Disney cruising Facebook with me and two other travel agents, and it's for our travel group. But we post all this stuff about Disney Cruise Line and Disney Cruise Line tips and tricks. And I definitely have to shout it out because we are starting it back up again. But as far as like posting on Facebook for myself and my business, not really.
Yeah. Well, I'll put anything you want in the description. So any way to get a hold of Maddie, because she's pretty great. So yeah, any kind of links you've got, I'll just send them to me when this is over, and we'll post them on there. So, all right. Well, let me ask you this: do you have an email list then?
An email list?
Mm-hmm. Do you do that kind of stuff? This is looks like we're turning from Disney to something else, but we'll cut this out if we have to. So
no. Usually people just email me directly, and that's how I book their trip.
So I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about how you get all of your clients through Instagram or through TikTok, and it was very interesting to me because that seems so difficult to me. How do you go about cultivating a relationship on social media then? Because that seems like you do a good job of it. You have your podcast, and I mean, you've got pretty big guests on your podcast, so you're doing something right. How do you go about meeting people and doing that on there for people who are trying to do the same?
Yeah, honest to God, I have no idea for TikTok. I just started making videos about being a travel agent and some tips and tricks. And then I have a link tree, so where you can put all your links. And one of the links was just like, hey, email me if you want to work together. And I think that was easy, having something in my bio where someone could just email me. And then for cultivating any other type of relationships, you don't know unless you try. And it's weird because I'm a very sensitive person, but I'm like, I'm not going to try because what if it's a no, or what if it doesn't work out? And I plan for the worst. So I just reach out to people and like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? And so many big Disney influencers have either ignored me, which is their right, or said no, which is their right. But you just never know unless you try. You really never know. So if you're a travel agent, or if you're just looking to build relationships, put yourself out there. I don't know what that's going to look like on Instagram. I guess kind of what you do on TikTok. Just make videos and say, I'm a travel agent. Here's the link in my bio if you want to book a trip. Or I have a podcast. The link is in my bio. Here's a preview. Something like that.
Well, a lot of people that I follow on Instagram on my Disney channel are travel agents, and it seems like a lot of them have just, and this was before the TikTok ban, but it seemed like they were making videos in TikTok and then just dropping them into Instagram. Like that kind of there's a meme that they say, I don't watch TikTok, I watch TikTok videos on Instagram because I'm an adult. Like that's like my age group of like, oh, that's fun. No, I'm not downloading this. The good stuff will make it over here. So I do think it's important to not just make those kind of videos because we get the same kind of thing over and over where something will hit and it's like the same person that's been added, graphic in front of Spaceship Earth or something with the same kind of text, and 15 different people will show up in my feed with the same one. So so showing your personality. But what you said about that is, and that's hard, especially if you're looking online for business, about being sensitive and about hearing, some of the nonsense that comes in, you shared earlier of just things people say and, putting something out there and getting rejected. Honestly, almost that's the job. With the Disney planning is easy. The social media is easy. It's the dealing with stuff that you're bringing upon yourself. So I feel like you're handling that very well because, like I said, the first time someone told me something ugly like that, the first time someone ghosted me on a podcast, I was like, hey, you want to do this? And they send you a little thing. It's been seen Wednesday. I'm like, it's Friday. And they didn't. You can at least say no.
I feel you. I'm still very sensitive, and sometimes I'm like, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Like, you keep putting yourself out there. There has to be a reason. And I feel you. It sucks, but you never know who's going to say yes, and you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I feel like that's how sometimes the influencers I don't even know what numbers it takes to be considered influencers, but I would say anybody who would get like an invitation from Disney to do like the special things. That's when we watch it on YouTube, and like Molly and her husband and all these people, they get like the invites to the early stuff. Deep down, how would I get popular enough from Kentucky to be?
I feel you 100%.
But I think a lot of it is just not caring that people, you just push aside all that negativity, and you got to put it out there and get in front of it. So in one of your podcasts, you're talking about the different influencers that are out there in the parks. Have you ever seen a person yourself? a big time person that you just recognized only from online?
Yeah, I've seen two. One of them, I didn't interrupt them. They were just, I could see they were filming something, and I just waited till they stopped filming, and I said, "Hey, I'm a fan. Thanks for posting." And we had an interaction. And then the other one I didn't really say anything to because she was busy, and I could tell there was like a swarm of people just watching her. I didn't have the best interaction with the person that I said hi to, so I'm not going to say who it was.
It was Donald Duck, but he's like,
yeah. He was just, they were just busy. But yeah, and then I've seen, oh my gosh, I've seen like other TikTokers there, and they were on live. So I'm not just going to like go in the live and be like, hi, I'm a fan. But I think a lot of them are approachable and nice.
Yeah, there was a guy, and I think he still does it, but he went over all the way to like a Patreon page, but he would just, it was rope drop on YouTube, and he would just go in the mornings and just walk around live and just talk, for hours. And he was there one day, we were there. I was like, are you that? And he was like, yeah. And he had like a bottle opener with his name and stuff on it. It was weird. He was handing out to people who recognized him.
Oh, that's cute.
Like, that's the strangest thing I've ever. I can't imagine being so, like, I don't want that. I've never wanted anything where people would recognize me on the street. I want the perks of that, but not the fame of that. So I'm not worried. I'm not close to any of that. So it's not anything I'm really too.
You never know. Wow. You never know. I have a friend, Mel. I don't think she'll mind if I share this story, but we were all going to Disney together this past September, and she had gotten there the night before me. And she had between 1,000 and 2,000 followers, I would say. And she was just waiting in line. Mickey's Not So Scary. She did a Mickey's Not So Scary event. And the person behind her in line said, "Hey, are you Mel?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I watch you on TikTok." And she's like, "What? Are you serious?" And so you truly never know. You never know. She thought she was like small. Having any followers, you're not small. People want to hear you and follow you. So you truly never know. You have no idea.
So my daughter's ready to start high school, and her ultimate goal would be to be a chef and work at Disney World.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know if that, she's 13 now, so who knows where those dreams go. But a lot of me is like, it would be, instead of paying for college, it would almost be better and more fun for us to get her a YouTube channel where she would do Disney things, because in 4 years, if you just started it now, it may be more valuable than college would be by the time she got out of college. So people would
absolutely.
See her grow up, and I'm like, oh, I can't pitch that to my wife. She's not having it. But to me, I'm like, at this point in the world, that kind of following it's amazing. It's the stuff that you're able to do. So it's my like brush with fame. Alan from Mammoth Club, I worked with him briefly like 10 years ago at a job, and he was talking about how he met his wife at Disney, and they were big Disney people. And the guy that my boss there was a big Disney person. So he was like, "Yeah, you all should chat. You like it. I like it. He likes it." And I was like, "Oh, that's fun. This is exciting." And then one day I turn on YouTube and we're like, well, he's famous now. And here I am, the same spot. What happened?
Why? Oh my gosh.
Why was I not able to latch onto that 10 years ago before, So it's very strange to see how people go from just an average everyday thing, but you can build such a world for yourself just online. It's very odd.
Yeah. And honestly, that's where I feel like I have what I have built on TikTok, and I'll just be very sad to see that go. And financially, like you were saying, it definitely supports you financially. I don't know how, but I get paid on TikTok and I get paid for videos. And so just taking that away, It's like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because that's how I justified my Disney trips.
Oh, no. Well, no. I'm sure you seem, I know you don't seem like the person to accept this, but you're very good at this. Like, I feel like you will find your footing somewhere else because.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know what this Neptune is. There's some kind of, what's it called? It's like red. Red
Note. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I know it's big in China. I just haven't done that yet. Just gonna see where TikTok goes. It's not looking good, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, so I have just I just don't get on the news anymore. My life has been so much better when I'm like not following any kind of news. It's just the best. So whatever I get trickles down through Instagram, or Facebook or whatever, YouTube to some extent. They're shutting down TikTok because of its link to China. Is that correct? Is that basically in a nutshell? They don't like what they're doing with the information?
That's what they're saying, but it's proven to be not true. TikTok is actually TikTok is actually banned in China. So China doesn't even use TikTok.
But it's owned by a Chinese group, is that?
It is like, I want some percentages, and they don't like that. And, there's millions of Americans on it, and a lot of people are going to lose. Like, thankfully that's not my full-time job. That's just a side gig. I have a normal 8 to 5 everyday job. I just really feel for people who are going to lose like everything. And I know they'll find their footing, and I know they'll find where they belong, but it's sad because it's a community, and it's very sad.
Well, so, I mean, that is like just one generation below me where people start doing TikTok stuff. And I'm like, I think I'm good. You'll find that age one day where you go, you know what? I think I've peaked, and I think everything, like I have all of my old Disney things behind me on the shelf, but all of it is just old junk. There's no like new stuff in my office at my house. Yeah. It's all just like, there was a point where I said, I don't need anything new like this. And I think TikTok was right after that. So honestly, I don't understand when a lot of people are like, oh, that's a big TikTok star. And I'm like, I would not recognize them if they were in the car with me. Like, I don't know who this person is, but I feel like Red Note, being a Chinese company, is going to, if it gets popular, they're going to face the same
thing.
This is not the best alternate plan.
Yeah. My generation is kind of started going there, from what I can tell, as a joke. So they were just like, oh, you don't like that TikTok has connections to China? Well, guess what? I'm downloading this Chinese app on my phone, and I'll show you. It didn't work so far. We don't know. I just was hesitant to go on it because I'm like, I can't read the terms and conditions because it's in a different language. Not that I sit there and read terms and conditions anyways.
Right.
But I was just like, I'm not going to do that. If this is meant for me, it will find me on another platform.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to be this person, but I don't know what you think that the American-owned companies are doing with your data, but I can't imagine it's any more nefarious, like, or any less, like what the fact that like all this stuff is free, like what, this is massive servers and all the money that, how expensive Facebook is to run, and you don't pay a dime for it. I'd say, that data is worth something. So I don't know how much more. It's just it's local data theft, not, international, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, tomorrow is the day that it goes away. So I'm just praying for a miracle. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like the way our country is, like tomorrow, this is Saturday, the 17th today? 18th. Okay. So it's going down to 19th, and then a whole new political scheme starts Monday the 20th. So who knows? It might be back Monday or Tuesday, like the way the world works. So TikTok could be down for 6 hours and then be, right back up. Like I said, I don't keep up with the news, but I feel like if one group just shuts it down, the next group could just open it right back up. So don't lose faith. If that
is what I'm praying for.
If TikTok is what you do, because there's people on there with, tens of millions of followers, and I never thought. So you say 4,000 around that kind of following there
on TikTok?
Yes.
No, I have close to 17,000.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, and you get paid for that then?
I do, and the creators that have tons of followers, and you get paid based on your views, not following. They're making bank from TikTok. It's like bank. It's crazy. So you can make like $16,000 off of one video. It's
okay. Well, that's why TikTok is doing so well, because a lot of people I know that do YouTube, even the people with hundreds of thousands of followers and that get, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views on a video. I mean, they're not making that per video. That's wild.
Yeah. Because you can get paid, but you don't have to be sponsored. You don't have to have like the typical like YouTube type things. And it's boosted the American economy. Like, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. So, we'll see how it goes, I guess. I don't know. I'm just bummed.
Yeah, I mean, it's making me kind of sad thinking about it because, like I said, it will have zero effect on my day-to-day life. But I see all these people upset, and I'm like, there's a whole nother world that I'm not even a part of. What I see is like 6-year-olds in front of their phone doing dances, and
no.
What is this nonsense? But there's a whole community out there that I guess that's not even, not that at all. So
yeah, no, TikTok. I go to TikTok for everything. If I don't feel good, I will search in TikTok like how to get rid of my nausea naturally. And they'll be like, have you ever tried taking this supplement? And this doctors will make TikToks and like, this is when you should go see your doctor. If it goes past this point, I've learned so much.
That is insane to me. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get away from there and we'll getting ready to wrap this up, I think. But let me talk to you a little bit about your podcast. So what inspired you to start the podcast? Because that is how I found you.
Oh, that is so cool to hear that you found me through there. So thank you. I feel like you understand when you have a podcast, you don't really have too much interaction and you don't realize that people are actually listening. It's just like you record it and then it's kind of done. I am a huge podcast listener, not really a huge Disney podcast listener. I used to. I'm getting better because it was causing me some anxiety, but I used to consume a lot of true crime podcasts, like an ungodly amount of true crime.
Real quick. So the Disney podcasts were causing you anxiety. So the true crime ones.
No. The true crime was causing me anxiety.
Oh, okay.
So I had to stop.
Okay. I thought the Disney ones were causing you anxiety.
No. So I still consume a little bit of that. And I've always wanted a podcast. I always envisioned myself doing a podcast. And so I found a friend and I messaged them. I was like, do you want to do a podcast with me? I just feels like something I really want to do. They said yes. And then the timeline kept getting pushed back. And when the time came to do it, they backed out, which is fine, their choice. And so I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do it by myself because I didn't really listen to music. I only listened to podcasts. And that's just where I started. I was like, I just love podcasts and I see myself doing this. I want to do this. What do I know a lot about? Disney. And that's how it started.
I mean, that is great because it's a thing that people don't understand when I tell them, well, I have a friend that we always get on her because she's a big Taylor Swift person. And she's like, well, what music do you listen to? I'm like, I don't, honestly, it's very strange, but my answer used to be, well, everything, a little bit of everything. But now I can't tell you new songs, but there's probably 10 or 15 podcasts that I listen to weekly when they come out. That's more so than I even watch TV because
same.
When this is what I do, video and podcasting stuff. So if I'm watching TV, I'm distracted visually, but if I can just throw a podcast in and do work and, edit.
The same for me. It's podcasts. I have to drive 45 minutes to work every day and drive back. And sometimes that takes an hour. I'm just listening to podcasts. I turned on music yesterday and I put Spotify DJ and it was here's the newest hits. I'm like, what is this? I've never no, this is not for me. So I turned on a podcast.
And that is someone who's in her early 20s. That's music is not for her. And I love it because that's there was a point where we would go and turn on the MTV Awards or even the Grammys and just go, who are these people and why are they famous? And I don't know what has happened to me, but that's the same kind of stuff. I know Taylor Swift because I have young girls and that just gets through, that's in the culture, but there's a lot of people that things come out. I don't, just like a TikTok person, I have no idea. So what I always tell people, so many people want, and I mean, I don't know if this is here or there, but a lot of people that I know, they want a YouTube channel. They want to be famous. They work with they want a YouTube channel for their business, but they want to be famous. They see Mr. Beast or Dude Perfect and they see, hundreds of millions of views even a billion views on some of these things, or they see a podcast and it's well, Joe Rogan got this contract for, $100 million. And I'm like, yeah, but he did it for 10 years and he did it before it was popular and Dude Perfect started before it was popular. They just did it and built this up out of nowhere. That's not what you're going to be able to do probably right now in any facet. Like, unless you're already famous, like if The Rock wanted to start a podcast tomorrow, it's going to be big. But
Yeah.
if you're not that person going in, it's rough. But I think, and especially for something like what you do, I think a podcast is it's a great thing. And I mean, you could do it with YouTube as well, but just because you're kind of selling yourself and that's your introduction to people. And like I said, just listen to her. Oh, she's great. And I would trust her with my Disney vacation. She seems like she knows what she's doing, and she's even giving tips to other travel planners. And it's just like a short introduction. So I think that, I mean, as much as a TikTok would do as well, I feel like that kind of stuff, people, you don't have to have 100,000 downloads an episode. I don't know what you do, but I mean, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be famous in the sense of like a big podcast is famous now to make that into a successful business. So I don't know why more people don't do it. I mean, if you have the ability to talk and do it, and you seem to have that. So that's really good because you do it by yourself, which I can't imagine.
Well, that's very nice of you to say all that about me. Thank you for saying that.
Well, I mean, it's true. So.
Oh, well, thanks. Sometimes I don't feel that way about myself, but that's very nice to hear. And I love doing the podcast, and I love just being able to talk, and coming back soon with my podcast. I promise I'm working on my guest list, and
Nice.
and yeah, I think I snagged a few bigger creators, and now my audience is like, that's all we want is bigger creators. And I'm like, guys, I can't get that for you. I'm so sorry.
Well, I guess that's the troubles of success. That like, well, Bob Iger's on this week. I'm sorry, and the next week it's just my neighbor who just got back from vacation.
Yeah. But you'll find your group of people, and thank you for listening. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere, right? I listen to it on Spotify, but it's all over. Like, it's some people for whatever reason they just have it on like one platform. And guys, it's literally the easiest thing to do, to send it to everywhere.
Yeah. I just send it, record and push it out.
Well, I'll tell you, I tried to do it for a while by myself, and it was a hot nightmare. So it was just, I don't have anybody to talk to or play off of. I just feel like a lunatic sitting in my office talking, and it's not great.
I feel that way too. And especially like having a normal 8 to 5 job, and then doing this, and then being a travel advisor. And then I would consider myself somewhat of a TikToker. So like having all of that and doing it all by myself, but I know it's going to pay off one day. It will pay off. It has to.
Well, right. And I mean, and like you said, there are a lot of Disney podcasts, and there are a lot of them that aren't, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say they're not great. They're just not my thing. And I think that's what you were saying about finding your audience. Like, if you just keep putting it out there, your audience will find you eventually, because that's what an audience does. And now there's so much entertainment, and my kids get tired of it, but hundreds of years ago when I was their age, there was not as much entertainment, and everybody knew the same stuff. And now everything is so segmented that, you don't have to have 1 million followers to have an audience that will build a business and that kind of thing. So, just keep putting it out there and keep making it great.
Yeah. Oh, you're very inspirational. You should be like a life coach or something.
That's really funny. Well, that has been Maddie, and I will put all of her information in the description and everything else, so you'll be able to follow her on wherever her new adventures take her. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.